happening, everybody? Welcome to another Stochastic NBA So Rare show. As you guys come in, do Neil and I a favor. Like the video, subscribe to the YouTube channel. For the next 30 minutes or so, Neil and I are going to walk through the upcoming So Rare slate. This runs Monday through Thursday. We're going to be looking at the projections we have over at Stochastic.com, which I'm about to throw into YouTube chat so you guys could follow along. These are totally free. Click on them, and what we have in here is going to tell you what we're projecting all of the players for in the upcoming So Rare slate. Although with that said, we haven't done one of these shows, Neil, where there's been a mass amount of breaking news right before we start. Yep. It just happened. We got the Bucks have Giannis out today, in addition to Jrue Holiday. So we're going to talk about that and some of the So Rare implications. But first, if you guys haven't checked out So Rare yet, here's why you should do it. First of all, you join the site totally for free. But then also, if you sign up using our link and you start playing some of those paid contests, the first 5 limited card players you purchase, you're getting a 6-1 totally for free when you sign up using our link. And also, we've got a league coming very soon. Later on in the week, we're going to be launching it. Neil and I have been having some back and forth about it. You guys are going to be able to win some Stochastic Plus Platinum memberships totally for free in our So Rare League. Potential for some other prizes as well. More announcements coming on that. So go check out So Rare, sign up using our link, and get ready to win some prize that you could get access to totally for free in our league that we're launching later this week. But Neil, first off, how are you doing? How was the rest of your weekend?
Yeah, I'm doing great. I did really well in both the past 2 So Rare contests. Jamming the Stochastic Optimal, of course, has been working out pretty well. This past week, I got 10th place out of just over 8,000 just using the Stochastic Optimal. I will say it's getting a little bit tougher. I think the field is getting tougher. The reason being, I think people have discovered these stochastic tools. So I noticed this is the first week that I've noticed a lot of other people had my exact lineup, and I think it's because we just started posting the Stochastic Optimal like 2 weeks ago. So suddenly people have caught on and they're just playing that one. And sadly, so I got 10th place. Only the top 3 get a tier 1 rare card, but I won a tier 2 rare card with 10th place. There was another person who had my exact lineup except for more experience points who ended up in 4th place.
Oh no. Yeah. Well, you were close, but somebody did just edge you out there. And it's part of all the projections we have here over at Stochastic.com. Is we've got our optimal plays tab as well. And I'm curious to see what prize you got. We're going to be opening those up here in a second. But then also, we need to address that if you guys are looking at the projections right now, the second before we started the show, in case anybody's watching this in hindsight, Giannis was ruled out just as we were starting. So our projections aren't quite updated for Giannis being out. In addition to Giannis being out, Jrue Holiday was ruled out earlier in the day. Have we gotten any news on Middleton is in, it looks like. Okay, so Middleton's in, Portis is in, Brook Lopez is in. So I'm going to be curious to look at some of the So Rare prices for these guys here, Neil, because there's a chance some of these players have pretty good value.
I know. We pull that up, Mike. Man, if I weren't on a show right now, I would be rushing out to buy myself a Chris Middleton. I already bought a Javon Carter after Jrue Holiday was ruled out, so I think he's going to look good. He hasn't a last 10 average of 17 though. I was a little bit bummed to see that it was that high. I was hoping that he would have a last 10 average of like 12, but it's up at 17. Still, I think some meat on that bone for Javon Carter. But then Chris Middleton right now is going to be a great value, I'd imagine.
And actually, Mike, can you just search? Let's look at some of the individual players in our projections. Search Chris Middleton. I want to see what our projection was. And once again, this is not even accounting for the absence of Giannis. This is accounting for the absence of Jrue Holiday because our projections were updated for that. But look at Middleton. Middleton was already somebody who came up as a really strong play for the upcoming slate for a couple of reasons. First of all, 3 games in the upcoming slate for the Milwaukee Bucks. So that's huge. In addition to that, the last 10 average for Middleton is only 33. Our projection, which is going to go up by like 4 or 5 points because the absence of Giannis here, he was already a really strong value. Middleton looks like one of the best plays we have for the upcoming slate. So this is pretty cool. Not too often do we get to come to you guys with breaking news, but Chris Middleton looks really good. And then other players like Bobby Portis and like Brook Lopez, they're going to get a projection update as well in the coming time to make them look better. So if you search Bobby Portis right now, because Portis is somebody who's going to move from the bench into the starting lineup, I assume anyway, and he's going to be somebody at 25 is his last 10 average. So our projection for him is 25.94, but I'm going to look at what have we seen from Bobby Portis in his So Rare starts this year. Just his fantasy points. I'm going to read these off. So Bobby Portis has made 19 starts this year, 33.5 So Rare fantasy points in those starts. So yeah, if we can now expect somewhere in the mid to high 30s fantasy points for Bobby Portis, he's going to look really good at that salary over on Sorare. So Bobby Portis, Chris Middleton, two guys that have become pretty high priorities that were not as of 10 minutes ago. So something to keep an eye out for if you guys are looking to get some players on the secondary market. Sign up using the link we have below because you purchase 5 players, you get a 6-1 for free. But Bobby Portis, Chris Middleton will be two prime options for us to hone in on that secondary market. In the meantime, though, Neil, let's see what prizes you got for this upcoming slate.
You know what I'm hoping for? A Chris Middleton.
Anthony Edwards. Oh,
I mean,
yeah, Chris Middleton is.
I imagine Ant is tier 1, so I think all 4 of mine might be tier 2. Mike, can you confirm or deny if they're all tier 2?
Yeah, we'll check tier 2. Look at this. This guy had himself a weekend, Neil.
Yeah, it's the past Bourbon, 2 slates. That's right. Yeah, Uncrustables, Bourbon, and Sorare.
Did you see, by the way, there was a golfer yesterday in the match play tournament who's eating Uncrustables during his round, and it ended up going viral on Twitter.
That's hilarious. I did not see that.
I was actually, I just realized I was about to tag you on it. I just opened up my Twitter on my phone, and I realized that it's still saved in my drafts. I forgot to tag you on the thing there. But yeah, there was a player who I assume was influenced by you, is eating Uncrustables.
I would assume that too.
Played golf.
Yeah, totally. Probably drinking bourbon too. Can't see it's got in a flask.
Some questions that we're getting in the YouTube chat right now. Genuine in YouTube chat. What is Sorare? That's a very good and relevant question. So Sorare is a fantasy game that you're playing with collectible cards. So you get some cards, you win prizes of cards when you win in contests. Where you don't have to come in first place, but just there's different prize tier pools where it'll be like, hey, top 5 win a tier 1 card, and then you get maybe like the next 15 people win a tier 2 card. And what you do is you take those cards, use them to build even better lineups, or if you want, you could buy and sell some of these players on the secondary market. The biggest sale that I have seen so far was somebody won a Giannis in a contest, was able to sell it on the secondary market for nearly $200,000. So there are some really cool, unique prizes you could win that are valued pretty highly. And then we got another question from Poker Beast Sue, who wants to know who reported Giannis is out. The Milwaukee Bucks. It's on their injury report. They have him as not playing. So it's from the Milwaukee Bucks themselves.
Now, Poker Beasts University. That's what that is.
Oh, is that what it is? So I'm not hip.
No, I just made that up.
It could be.
It could be though. But the U should be capitalized in that case. So probably not.
Poker Beasts U. Yeah, we could go that way. I said Poker Beast SU. I think Poker.
That actually makes more sense. I think the way you said it, Poker Beast Sue. I just don't know.
It sounds cooler, but yeah, it could be Poker Beasts University. Nothing wrong with that. So now at the end of the week, because to answer Genuine's question about what is Sorare, after the contests pay out and you get your prizes, this is what's going to show on your screen right here. So Neil won 4 rewards last week. We're about to open them up and see what they are. Neil, which one do you want to open first?
We got to start with those limiteds. So it doesn't matter. They're all the same tier. So just open the limiteds first and then the rare.
All right. So we're starting with one of the limiteds. And at the game we play here, we just yell out whatever player we think it is as it's being opened. Jaylen Brown.
Oh,
Marcus Smart. I'm surprised Marcus Smart's tier. So
I am too.
I didn't think Marcus Smart was a tier 2. I thought I had an easy win with Jaylen Brown.
I thought you did too.
I thought he's the only tier 2 guy on Boston.
Yeah.
Apparently Marcus Smart is right now as well. And Smart yesterday's ejection notwithstanding, he's been playing pretty well. And with some of these playoff contests coming up, we do expect the Celtics to make a playoff run. This is a team that we think are going to be playing in the playoffs for multiple rounds. So good player to be having some exposure to for sure in Marcus Smart. Now let's see what else we get.
Genuine says, how about that cat shot last night? Yeah. Did you see that, Greg? The Karl-Anthony Towns 3-pointer?
I've been telling people.
I know you have.
By the way, been telling people. It's been, a couple of days. People were not thrilled when I told them I like the Timberwolves outlook for this season. Yesterday was the first time all year we saw them play together. They won on the road against the Golden State Warriors. Pretty damn good start to the Timberwolves. And also, because I bet them, if you remember, it was 200-1 to win the championship. They're now 120-1 today after last night's win. So I've got a pretty good amount of closing line value there.
Yeah, you did.
Let's open up the other one. We got Marcus Smart as one of our players in here, one of Neil's players. I like to think we're a team, but this is really Neil's account.
No, we're a team. We're a team. All right, let's see it.
What are we gonna get here? Golden State Warriors.
Play.
Thompson.
Jordan
Jordan
Poole.
Poole.
All right.
Okay.
I feel like relative to our shout outs, they've been like mildly disappointing, both of them. But Poole is definitely a guy who can spike an upside.
So the other thing too with Jordan Poole is I assume we're going to get Klay Thompson, Steph Curry rested down the stretch of the season. That seems something pretty likely to happen. If we get some Jordan Poole games where there's no Steph Curry, I mean, we've seen this all year. No Klay Thompson, no Steph Curry. Jordan Poole has pretty big games. And I just looked
Yeah.
up his price. 23 is the last 10 average.
Might
Poole,
actually be better than Clay in some ways because we know that he has those games where they're going to be missing starters and he's going to absolutely crush. So actually, I kind of like that one.
yeah, I do as well. So you're not going to use him for this slate. The Warriors only play one game. But another thing, too, and I know we're really trying to talk ourselves into this, but if the Warriors play one game, that probably means they have a back to back on the upcoming slate where Steph and Clay could likely sit.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, I don't
Right.
mind that card one. I like that better than Marcus Smart.
Yeah, I do as well. Let's look at the Warriors' schedule while we're on this. It's always helpful to look ahead for some of this stuff just to see, which players could have some hidden value upcoming. All right, come on. Let's see a Warriors back to back in the schedule. What is the Warriors' upcoming game? So we know they only have one for this slate. And then, yeah, unfortunately, no back to back. But I wouldn't be surprised still if we see some spots this Friday. The Warriors are at home against the San Antonio Spurs. I don't know they're going to need everybody for that game. I would not be surprised if this is a day where they go no Draymond, no Clay, no Steph, and they just hand the keys over to Jordan Poole. Friday, I'm telling you, Friday night is going to be a Jordan Poole night. Pool party Friday night.
The only reason that I'm not very confident about this is they are really like the West is so tight right now that I'm not sure it's going to happen before the end of the season just because the Warriors are going to need every win. But
I don't know. The Spurs, though, like the games against the Spurs, because the Spurs are just so aggressively tanking right now.
Yeah.
If we look at, I think, to the Spurs, they don't play it, but some of these recent Spurs games, they're like 17 and a half, 18-point underdogs. That could be a spot where the Warriors rest players, but
that's true.
There we go. Just trying to stretch and tell you why I should be happy about Jordan Poole. Let's open up the other two rare prizes because this could be some of the really good stuff. And also,
we should also, yeah, okay. You're covering it.
Yeah, Aggressive Goose wants to know, how does lineup construction work? Our cards that are more rare have better multipliers. So the cards that are more rare do not have better multipliers, but there are contests where you could only use certain cards. Like there are contests you could only use rare cards. There are contests you could only use limited cards. So that is what where the rarity comes into play. Then how does lineup construction work? It's not necessarily one size fits all answer because there are different types of contests they put up. In general, though, the most common is there's a salary cap similar to FanDuel, similar to DraftKings. You get one MVP player who does not count against your salary. And then from there, it's just what does each player score in the upcoming slate? And then the salary also. Do you remember the salary cap for the contest?
So I can tell you, so the two that I play the most commonly is the limited champion contest, where it's a salary cap of 120, but there's that MVP spot. So whoever has the highest, and the salary is just the player's last 10 average. So their average score over the past 10 games, that is their salary for the contest. It's shown right on the card what their last 10 average is, so you know exactly how much they cost essentially. But so for the limited champion contest, it's a salary cap of 120 with an MVP spot. So the player who has the highest last 10 average is just automatically going to be in that MVP spot. They don't count against that 120 cap. So the remaining four players have to stay under 120, average of 30 per. And then the limited contender is a cap of 110 with no MVP spot. So it's just all five players have to stay under 110. So average of 22 for those five players.
Yeah, and the other thing too, to answer Aggressive Goose's question, is because it could be a little confusing just to hear somebody talk through it. As soon as we're done opening up Neil's prize here, we're going to build out a lineup for him. And then it's really easy to understand how it works once you see us build a lineup and after you play it once or twice. Because once you play, so a lot of the stuff just becomes secondary nature, looking at our projections and the cards and whatnot. But let's see what the other prizes are that Neil got, and then we'll go ahead and we'll start building some lineups. So these are the rare ones.
It's also positionless, by the way. So
yeah, also positions don't matter. All that really matters is the salary of the players, what they've averaged the last 10 games, and relative to our projections. Now let's see what players.
All right, let's see it, Mike.
See if we can guess somebody.
Cavs.
Darius Garland.
Evan Mobley.
Okay, that's a good one too. There's a good one too. Nice. Yeah, so Evan Mobley.
What's his last 10 average, Mike? 40 something?
41 for the last 10 average.
All right, not a ton of value on that.
Yeah, so he's got to be pretty expensive. Another guy who's going to have utility come the playoffs, though. Cavs are a team that are going to be relevant there. But yeah, he's very expensive right now, unfortunately. The reason he is so expensive is because Jared Allen was just out, and now Jared Allen's
Yeah.
back.
Yeah. So maybe for the playoffs.
All right, let's see what the other one is. Mobley, a great player. And the other thing, too, is you get to hold these cards for multiple years. And Mobley's one of the better young players we have in the NBA.
Good
So
point.
that's a building block of future lineups for you, Neil,
Yeah.
as well. Tier 2 from the Cavs. Garland
Evan
this
Mobley.
time. Oh, okay. Mobley again. So
All
double
right.
Mobley. Which one is the better serial number?
Yeah, good question.
253, 252.
No way.
Okay.
Okay.
You can see the order the cards are issued in.
That's funny. I won this in back-to-back contests though. Like it was last week's contest and then the weekend contest. So interesting.
Well, there you go. So I guess you're the only winner of Evan Mobley cards this weekend.
Apparently.
You got them all. So we got a couple Evan Mobleys, the Jordan Poole, the Marcus Smart. Now we're going to use some of these players, maybe not these players, but we are going to build out a lineup, and this is going to help Aggressive Goose, the most aggressive of gooses. He wants to know how lineup construction works. We're about to show you right here. As everybody knows that watches this show, the bread and butter of Neil's contest is the limited contender.
Limited champion is the bread and butter. Come on now.
I misspoke.
It was funny.
Champion.
Eric and I did a show where he called the bread and butter like the underdog contest. Like, I know the underdog is your bread and butter. It's like that's I didn't correct him, but I was like, that's not right.
So let's see what some of these players are projecting for us. And also on the high end, who is our number one overall projected players for the upcoming slate? So Jokic, Embiid. Jokic is number one for us. Embiid is up there as well. Giannis is up there, but he was in our projections, but he is going to be out this week. So let's see if we can build.
Well, he's only missing one game, and they have 3 games.
That is true.
Like, do you think he's going to miss multiple games? They're not like. I haven't looked at the standings, I guess, the past couple days.
Well, let's see. What was he? Let me look at the injury report, see what he was ruled out with. Giannis. He was just ruled out with soreness. Yeah, okay. I think that's so. I'm going to look at this a couple of different ways. I'm with you. I tend to assume that you know what? His salary is much cheaper than Embiid or Jokic.
Yeah, I know.
How risky you want to get? You want to roll the dice with Giannis and throw him in there?
I don't think it's with 3 games. I don't think it's that risky. So I think we can roll the dice there.
Okay, so let's put Giannis in there.
I mean, people have been saying this week they think you can predict the future. Do you have any? Can you predict the future with Giannis? Is he going to play this week?
I would say it's pretty likely he sits today and then ends up playing the other 2 games this week.
Okay.
I do think, though, 50. I do think that we see Middleton sit out a game that Giannis plays in as well.
Yeah.
So go Giannis and now Jokic or Embiid. So in our projections, we do have Jokic projected a little bit better than Embiid here, about 3 fantasy points better, 3.3 to be exact. We've got them going head to head against each other tonight. Are we going to lean towards Jokic in the Jokic Embiid matchup? He's projected better for us, Neil.
Yeah, I'm just going to go with the higher projected player again.
There we go.
I suppose I do need to start thinking now that the field has caught on a little bit and they're using our projections. There were actually a lot of people who had our exact optimal, except they had Embiid in there instead of Luka this past week. So maybe I think that's an approach that I might consider as going one off. Well, let's just go with the higher projected for now. All
right, so there we go. We're going to go Jokic and Giannis. So we got the higher projected player in our projections. We made Mike feel bad as a massive 76ers fan. These are all good things to me. These are all good things.
All good. We have 70 remaining, 23 per.
So we're going to need some cheap guys in here now. And there's a lot of cheap guys to like at this point.
Out. Yep.
I mean, not just everybody's out for the Blazers at this point.
Yeah.
And you know what's funny? If you remember, do you remember the first player we pulled a numbered card of one of yours on one of these shows? Do you remember who the player was, Neil?
Was it Drew Eubanks?
It was Drew Eubanks. Do you still have that Drew Eubanks?
Oh yeah.
So let's put him in.
Yes, 2.
You got two Drew Eubankses. So let's take one of them, and that'll help us alleviate some salary. There's going to be a lot of Sorare lineups that we're going to be able to build in the next, week and a half of the regular season until the NBA heads into the playoffs, we're going to be super, super heavy stars and scrubs.
Yeah.
Really heavy stars and scrubs, because when you got guys like, and by almost all of our top projected points per dollar players are from the Blazers right now.
Yeah.
Here, if you guys just sort by value in our projections, which once again, free over at stokastic.com. Number 1 is Keon Johnson. 2 is Drew Eubanks. 3 is Shaden Sharp. 4, Nasir Little. 5 is Ryan Arcidiacono.
Yeah.
So lots of guys to like here. Do you have a Keon Johnson by chance?
Oh yeah.
All right.
Actually, I think I already had one and then maybe bought another one.
Okay.
That was nice. I was looking at our optimal lineup. Part of the reason I'm thinking I'm just going to play our optimal is I already had like all of the cards in it, except for maybe one I had to buy.
So if
You
we
have
go with
3 Keon Johnson.
oh my God, all the Keon Johnsons is
Hoarder.
So play the one with the highest 7.5. Is that the highest?
Yep.
Boost. Yeah, let's do one of those.
And what does that give us for average salary for the final spot?
48.
Oh my God. So we could play like anybody here. We might have to upgrade somebody.
Anybody but Luka or Joel.
Interesting. So it could play Anthony Davis, right? He's 48.
We could play
Oh,
Anthony
but LeBron
Davis.
is back, so like
The
he's
one
losing value.
downside to AD, well, 2 downsides actually. LeBron's back, like you mentioned, and he only plays 1 game.
Yeah, that's wonder if we can upgrade somewhere else.
You could play Ant and upgrade a Blazer.
I mean, I believe in the optimal, Julius Randle is in there as the better value. Ant, I mean, I'd be happy to play Ant, but now that we have Cap back too, it's no longer optimal. Not a lot of meat on the bone.
So I'm
Let's
curious,
try
if we put in Randall, what does that give us for salary left over?
7.
7. So we could either turn Keon Johnson to somebody who costs around 13, or we could upgrade Eubanks to somebody who costs 23, which is a possibility. Who do we have? Who does Neil have that's around a 23 cost?
Nurkic.
Well, Nurkic is out.
He's out. It would be Poole that he just got.
Interesting. Poole's only 23, but they only have 1 game. So I believe
Hardy.
Shaden Sharp was in there.
Yeah,
Yep.
so
Somewhere.
Sharp is 19. I would rather play Sharp than Eubanks.
Yeah.
Right? We've got Sharp projected for 35, and then we've got Eubanks projected for 33.5. So you do get a couple of extra fantasy points by going with Sharp. Let me see if there's anybody else just in general out of curiosity that projects better than that. I'm going to say the answer probably not. It's probably the best we could do, but I'll just check. Yeah, so Sharp cost 19. We've got him projected for 35. There's nobody around there that's remotely close. So I think this is the lineup, Neil.
Oh, Cat is doubtful tonight. I did not see that. That's interesting. So maybe I'll think about playing Ant in at least one of my lineups. But yeah, I like this. I believe this is our optimal lineup. So you know, it's a matter of do we want to play these stochastics? Of course, it's going to change by the time lock comes around with all the Bucks news. I imagine we get Middleton and or Javon Carter optimal. I had not seen that Cat is doubtful. Okay.
Yeah, so for Cat, just tail end of a back-to-back, he's been out for a long time. It makes sense this would be a rest spot for him.
It does.
So I do think that we're not going to see Towns play on the road against the Kings for the tail end of a back-to-back. But either way, pretty good looking lineup here. Like Neil said, we just happened to land on our optimal, which will happen because we're using our projections to help build these lineups. But Jokic is the MVP, which I'm sure just people hearing Jokic MVP in the same sentence is going to trigger them to no end. But hey, it's just what's going on here. Then we've got Giannis as a non-MVP, and then Julius Randle is another pay-up option, and 2 really good value plays in Shaden Sharp and Keon Johnson. How do you feel about this lineup, Neil?
Yeah, I like it. I like it quite a bit. With that top 3 of Giannis, Jokic, and Randle is really strong. And then of course, just finding that player's value. I think it's a high confidence lineup. I feel like I'm confident that it'll win a prize. It's just a matter of what's the upside. And I think it has the upside to get there. The only reason that I would think about straying from the lineup is, well, obviously we got news with the Bucks, but also I'm concerned that too many people are going to play the optimal. We're no longer in the so rare phase of just jamming the optimal, I think.
No, it came and went, but it had a good run. But still, we're at a point in the year where there are a lot of different iterations of best lineups you can make that are going to be, like a half fantasy point away from each other. There's going to be so many value plays. Oh, by the way, Joel Embiid is not playing today.
Really?
Yep. Embiid is sitting today. He's resting.
I don't think
Well,
I
you
have
talk
a
about
Harden.
somebody who's just afraid of the MVP race.
That's right. Man, I can't believe that he's sitting against Jokic.
Mike, producer Mike, who's a big 76ers fan, thoughts? Is Joel Embiid ducking Nikola Jokic?
I think the last time they played was your answer. He smoked them.
Well, not
Yep,
today.
genuine Embiid sitting. We just
Not
got
today.
the news.
He is sitting. Yeah, no Embiid. I'm gonna be really so Embiid was like a minus 200 favorite to win MVP this morning. I'm curious to see if this moves people. It's so the by the way, I'm very profitable betting futures markets, and I find it really fun to post about. I can't post about the MVP stuff on Twitter anymore. People lose their minds.
Oh yeah, they do.
It's the most ridiculous thing ever. So but the MVP, this is going to create all kinds of narrative. I'm definitely interested to tune in to see what people are playing. But yeah, there is going to be no Joel Embiid tonight. And just off the top of my head, I assume Paul Reed is going to, I don't know, are they going to want to start Paul Reed against Nikola Jokic?
Who else would they start against Nikola Jokic, though? I mean, he's going to get absolutely demolished by Jokic.
That's a really tough matchup for Paul Reed. I do know this. So James Harden was questionable. He's now probable. Harden's going to look really good now for tonight. It could be a Montrezl Harrell start. And Harrell's absolute dog shit on defense.
Yeah.
Do they go Harrell? Do they go Dwayne Dedmon just to get extra size out there? Maybe. I'm going to be interested to see what ends up happening with that. We're going to cover that more on this YouTube channel later. NBA Live Before Lock, NBA Deeper Dive. Check out all our content the rest of the day, guys. And also, if you haven't signed up at Sorare yet, use the link below to sign up. When you purchase 5 limited player cards, you're going to get a 6th one totally for free. Something that you should definitely be taking advantage of, because why not? Like, why would you not take advantage of some free stuff? And don't forget, the league. Join our league. We're going to be pushing it harder later on in the week, and you're going to have access to win additional prizes. So all the more reason, sign up at Sorare, get yourself familiar with it before we launch that league later on in the week. Other than that, guys, thank you very much for watching. Like the video, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Good luck tonight.